and a baby.
Hello, welcome to Bourbon and a Baby. My name is Jay. Max is not going to be joining us today because Max right now is at the babysitter, playing with all of his friends, maybe even taking a nap. Who knows? But he's still not quite yet old enough to review Cask Strength Rye Whiskey with his dad. I'm really excited about this review today for a couple of reasons. One, we are going to be reviewing this sample that was sent to me by Ed from the Rock Gut Review. So anybody that is familiar with WhiskeyTube, if you're watching my channel, have probably heard of the Rock Gut Review or seen some of Ed's videos. Amazing guy, one of the most unique in all the best ways possible whiskey tubers out there, and he recently has been working and distilling at a small craft distillery in Wisconsin called Dog and Shrub Distillery. They are releasing their very first Cask Strength Rye Whiskey, and before it's released, he wanted to send out samples to some whiskey tubers to hear our thoughts on it, which is really cool. And so it's exciting from that perspective because as of right now, I don't know that it's been released yet. If it has, it just recently has been released. Now, if you're not in Wisconsin or near there, you're probably not going to be able to find it. I know they're doing like a small limited run of this, but it's really cool to be able to sample something that's just about to make its way out there in the world. And another reason that I'm excited for this is that we're a small channel here, Bourbon and a Baby. At the time of this filming, we're just shy of 500 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed, please do get me up over that number. This is an actual first sample that I've ever been sent from a distillery. So that is super cool. It makes me feel a little bit official here. So Ed, thank you so much. I really appreciate you thinking of me and sending this sample over here. And another reason that I'm excited for this is that Ed wanted to set a few ground rules for trying this out that I thought were pretty cool. So first, he said we could do whatever we want, but at the end of the day, he said he would really like it if we tried this blind. So he didn't tell us the age, the proof, or the mash bill, and he thought it would be fun. He sent this to not just me, but to several other WhiskeyTube channels as well, and he thought it would be fun if we would try this blind without knowing that information, see if we can guess and see maybe who got the closest. So he did send along this little note here that says, don't read before you try the rye. So all that information is in here. The one thing that he did say is that this bottle for a fifth will retail at $60. So yeah, Cask Strength Rye Whiskey from Dog and Shrub Distillery in Wisconsin. So let's see what we think about the nose here. Oh yeah, this actually smells real grainy, which would lead me to believe it's younger, but not in a bad way. That a lot of times that could be like a bad note. This actually, you can really, that like cereal grains really coming through, and I like it. Now, knowing Ed, kind of what's going to go into my mind as I'm kind of making these predictions. From watching his channel over the years, I know that he, first of all, loves rye whiskey. Second of all, he loves high rye whiskey. So, he really, really loves that super harsh rye. So I'm going to just assume out of the bat before I try it that it's got a very high rye mash bill. It's not going to be a 51% rye. But I also know that Ed really likes Scotch whiskey a lot. And I feel like I'm smelling some malt in here. So it might not, I was kind of going into this thinking this might be like a 95% rye, but I feel like the malt content is really coming through. So this might be a higher malt percentage too. So yeah, so grainy cereal grains. There's a underlying It's not like an over-the-top sweetness, but there's like this underlying level of sweetness there that I can't quite place. Usually, like with whiskeys or bourbons, that tends to be like, I tend to get like a brown sugar note when I'm getting that sweetness, but it's a little bit. It's almost like a white sugar. Maybe if you like had a white sugar and brown sugar mix here. If you've ever been on a distillery tour and they take you into like where they have the fermenters, and a lot of times they'll let you like look inside or look down over them. Some places, this was pre-COVID, I don't know if they do it anymore, but some places would even let you kind of stick your finger in and taste it. I'm getting that smell a lot, like that fermenting grain smell here. Yeah, it's even like got a dustiness to it that I pick up from that. Usually, like when you get something that's cask strength, those first couple of whiffs you get kind of knock you back because it's such a high proof. This doesn't do that. So it kind of makes me think it's on, in the lower end of a cask strength offering. And I feel as it's kind of opening up in the glass, I feel like that sweetness is coming through a little bit more than it did initially. So I'm really starting to get more of that brown sugar and molasses now. So yeah, grain, mash grain, dusty, malt, and then like sugar, brown sugar, and molasses is kind of what I'm picking up here on the nose. One other thing I forgot to mention that Ed wanted to make sure, and I printed out his email, so I got this right. He had 2 requests if we did a review on it, and this first part I loved. Number 1, be honest, don't pull any punches because you know me. If it's nasty, we need to know so we can improve. So, being said, a lot of times whiskey tubers will get a lot of flack from viewers if they're sent samples from a distillery, because the thought is that if you're not giving an honest review, because if you were to say that you didn't like it, then that distillery might not send you more product in the future, and you want to keep those samples coming. I love that Ed put that out there right off the bat. I would never do that. This is the first time I've ever been sent a sample from a distillery, but you're gonna get my honest thoughts on it. No matter how I feel about Ed and whether they send me future samples or not. If I don't like it, you can believe that I'm going to tell you. So, all right. That being said, let's go ahead and try this out. Cheers. Really a lot going on, and I before I make too many notes, I think I want to just kind of let it go and then take a second sip. This is my first sip of the day, so a lot of times that'll shock your system. I probably should have tried something else before I started filming, but really kind of shocked the system there. Like I said, a lot of different stuff going on. Can say the finish still kind of going on, so it's got a nice long finish. And I will say that the proof didn't punch me in the face. So for a cask strength, sometimes that turns people off, like they think it's just too strong. My initial impression was that that's not the case with this. So yeah, let me take another drink and then I'll give you some tasting notes. So it's got that spice, it's got that rye spice, and I didn't get a lot of that on the nose. Really comes through on the palate. I do taste a little bit of that graininess, that dusty grain that I mentioned on the nose, but not as strong. Like on the nose, it was really strong. On the palate, it's just kind of there in the background. A lot of pepper, real peppery on the tongue and on the sides of the tongue, like black pepper, and then kind of what I love. So I've recently, over the past maybe year, have been getting more and more into rye. I used to not like rye at all, so you sent this at the right time, for me at least, because I've been getting more and more and more into rye. I've been liking it a lot more. My favorite ryes all do this, and that's that they hit you with the spice up front, but then as it finishes and as it mellows, as it goes down, then the sweeter notes start to come out. My favorite bourbons do that too. But definitely my favorite ryes do that, and that's kind of what's happening here too. Like you get hit with the with that black pepper and that rice spice and those grainy notes. But then as it finishes, then you start to get that brown sugar. Not normally like I would get a caramel note off of a lot of bourbons or ryes. Not getting caramel at all here, but brown sugar and a little bit of molasses coming through also. On the finish. I like this. Yeah, it's different. It's different than a lot of stuff I've tried. And it's like pretty complex. Now I'm tasting the malt. I didn't get that I don't think I poured enough in here. I want to pour a little bit more so I can keep talking about it. But I mentioned the malt that I was getting on the nose. On that third sip there, I really started to get it on the palate as well. It really started to come through. Makes me think. So if I'm gonna take a guess here, take a stab. So trying to guess age, proof, and mash bill. So we know it's a rye, so it has to be at least 51% rye in order for it to be a rye. So I'm gonna say it's 75% rye, 20% malt, and 5% malted barley, or however you want to do that. Yeah, I guess that would just be 25% malted barley. But yeah, I think I really feel like that malt percentage is higher than we traditionally get in a bourbon or a rye. So yeah, 75% rye, 25% malt. Let's see how we did on that one. Clock that. Proof, I'm gonna struggle with proof here because again, it's cask strength, but it does not drink hot at all. Yeah, this one's gonna be tough. I'm gonna say like 110 to 114, somewhere in there. So 110 to 114 is my range. I really can't see it being much higher than that. If it is, definitely can't be over 120. But 110 to 114, give me like that 4-point swing there, and hopefully I'm within there. And then if I'm guessing age, I'm pretty sure this is going to be younger. I don't know if they're aging it in smaller barrels or whatever. It doesn't come across as overly young, but I have to think that it is, and I have to think that graininess that you get on the nose and a little bit on the palate is showing that it's younger as well. So I'm gonna put it at like, I don't know that it's quite 2 years old. I want to say it's like maybe a year and a half or so. 2 years tops at the oldest. So anywhere from 1 to a year to a year and a half is what I'm going to go with. So real curious to see how we did here. So let's open this up. So here's a note. Hey there, hope you enjoyed the whiskey, and if you didn't, I'm excited to learn how we can improve. Here are the particulars about this bottle. I'm really excited to see who gets the closest to guessing the details. Okay, so I went a little too high on the barley, but still kind of holds true to what I was saying. It's 86% rye, 14% malted barley. So I was off by about 10 percentage points there, because what I say, 75 and 25. But yeah, I definitely could tell, or had a suspicion that there was no corn in here, and that it was just rye and malted barley. So not too bad, I guess. Just went a little higher on the malted barley. Proof point. I was about at the high end. I was 6 points off. So I said it was 110 to 114, and this is 120 proof, or 60% ABV. So I did say I can't imagine it's 120, but it really doesn't drink like it's 120. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So usually that's a good sign to me. I like things that are higher proof but drink like they're lower proof. I kind of dig that. Age 1 year, 151 days. So that's about a year and a half. So I feel like I'm like right on with that one. So I feel good about that. It's just under a year and a half. So 17 months it says here. It was barreled on 2/25 of 21 and dumped on 7/26 of 22. It was in a new char. They used a new barrel with a number 2 char, 15-gallon barrel. So yeah, they are using smaller barrels. And you know, honestly, I think it works for them. It does. It doesn't drink. I'm not gonna lie and say that like, oh, this tastes like a 6-year-old. It definitely doesn't. You can definitely tell it's younger, but not in a bad way. I kind of dig the flavors here. I kind of dig that you can taste the graininess. It's barrel number 006 that he calls the Sean Bean barrel, and its entry proof was 118. So they did go into the lower entry proof, and I think that also helps add to the flavor at a younger age. I think a lot of newer craft distilleries go in at lower barrel entry proofs, and they release their product younger, and I think that helps the flavor carry through by having that low entry proof. Thanks again for trying this. While this release will be distillery only, I'm hoping our next whiskey will have wider distribution. Your friendly local distiller type guy, Ed. So again, Ed, thank you so much, and also the folks at Dog and Shrub Distillery. So yeah, $60. You know, if this were, it's always this conversation you have with craft whiskeys, right? If this were Jim Beam putting out a less than 2-year-old rye cask strength for $60, I'd be a little less excited about paying for that. But when it's a local place, not local to me because I'm in Ohio, but if you're in Wisconsin, if it's a local place and they're trying stuff out and they're you know, I don't think $60 for a cask strength release, a small limited run, is a bad price. I think that's actually kind of right in line with where they should be. I don't think that's over. I've seen local distilleries around me put out similar age and proof products for over that. So I think that's a good price point for this. And again, I like it. I don't do ratings, you know, I don't like have a rating scale on this channel, but this is good. Is this something, again, I'm still kind of, like I said, I've been getting more and more into ryes lately, so I don't know that I would say that this is something that I would, if I had a full bottle, that I would always go back to, like consistently, be like a daily drinker or something like that. But this is something that I would drink. I think right now, I'm recording this, it's towards the end of summer. This is like I feel like this would be a really great fall whiskey. Something that you sit outside, you have your hoodie on, you drink a glass of this, sit around a campfire or something, and I feel like it's like perfect for that. So, so Ed, good work. I give my full approval to this, whatever that means to you and to the folks at Dog and Shrub Distillery. I did look up the place on Google. I just kind of checked out their website and looked at some pictures. It looks like a pretty cool spot. So if you are in their area, definitely go and check them out. If Ed's working, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk with you. Again, super cool guy. But yeah, it looks like a cool spot. Looks like they have live entertainment a lot on the weekends at least, and they make different types of spirits, not just whiskey. So, and even though I miss Ed, I miss you putting out regular content on the Rot Gut Review. Super happy for you that you have this job, because I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to continue to put great whiskeys out into the world. So, super excited and happy for you. Cheers to that. I still can't believe this is 120 proof. Would have thought for sure like 110. All right. Thanks a lot for watching today. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And you can find Max and myself on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Bourbon and Baby on all those platforms. And last but not least, we have a shop on Spreadshirt where you can buy some merchandise. I have a couple of new designs just hitting the store this week. So please check out that. I'll put the link in the description below. Cheers, everyone. It's good. Yeah, I like this. I do like this. Good work, Ed. And real quick, I need to make sure we put a little bit of this into our Bourbon and a Baby Infinity bottle. Throw some of that in there. All right. Cheers.